In your own words, how did it start?
Hi, Albert.
How you doing, Jade?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank
I have to tell you, I'm really impressed with Miller's Girl, and I knew that was your first film.
thank you.
So great job on it.
Thank you so much.
So my first question is, where did the idea come from for the movie?
It started as a play. I was a bartender living in New York City, an actress. This was right after the recession, so it was really hard to get a job. And I was like, great, what am I going to do with my certificate of participation from an acting school, which is as far as my education goes. So I knew that I wanted to write. Having been an actor, I knew I wanted to write for an actor. So I called one of my very best friends. Her name is Julianne. She is an extraordinary actress. And I asked her, if you could play any character, what would it be? And she said, Rhoda Penmark from The Bad Seed, who, if you recall, is a psychopathic killer child. So I was
Yeah,
like, great, I'm going to write a villain. And so in the play, the original version of the play, Caira's, I wanted a villain that I wanted to write about the birth of a villain. So it's not that she starts as one, it's that her heartbreak turns her into one. And
yeah,
that still exists in the screenplay. However, after Me Too happened, I was like, oh shit. Like I was totally gobsmacked, of course, because I was learning so much. And I was like, oh, I don't have one villain, I have two. And so then I was able to explore, and I use the word villain lightly because I think none of these characters are exactly one thing or another.
yeah.
But it became so much richer as I was sort of learning. I'm still learning things about the script, but the characters became so much richer as they became multifaceted, which feels closer to real life.
Right. Yeah, I felt like none of the characters in the film are likable at all.
No,
They
the
got
whole
these,
court is
they
out of
got these,
order.
yeah, they got these. All of them have demons inside them. I mean, let's just face that. I mean,
Hmm.
Miller's got this obsession with Kyra, and
Hmm.
then but he's afraid to do anything about it because of the fact that he's a teacher. But then you also got his wife, who's a total lush. I mean, she's always bagging on him and a total alcoholic. And then you got his best friend, who's like has this obsession with like young girls. It's just like, yeah, it's like you can't like any of the characters in this movie. But I feel like I agree with you. I like the fact that Kyra morphs into this villain because she starts out really innocent, yet she has this little thing that's been itching to come out, and then finally when it does, all hell just breaks loose from there.
Yeah, these characters do not fit the binary. I think that we want, often in literature and in real life, we want this. We want a good guy and we want a bad guy. We want them to be very clear so that we feel safe in our judgments of those characters, but also in our judgments of ourselves. And these characters are not a perfect villain or a perfect victim. And that's on purpose. I think if you're going to explore a trope like this, and it is a trope, how is it different? How can you break that trope? And I think it's broken by being from the female gaze, which it rarely ever is. And also that the characters are not all the way good or all the way bad. They have facets of goodness and badness and hubris and vanity and kindness and mercy. Like they have all of those things.
Exactly. And the cast is phenomenal in this movie, hands down.
Thank
I mean,
you.
Jenna Ortega, I can't say enough about her. She's totally the it girl now. Let's just face that. And then Martin Freeman was excellent as the teacher. What
Yeah.
was it like working with them as for your first film?
I mean, what LOL, like my first movie, and I get two, truly extraordinary, not only generous and kind and very thoughtful people, but also like powerhouse actors who have this extraordinary chemistry. It was incredible. I think as a dialogue writer, the fear is that an actor can't handle the language, and that the language in this film is intentionally heightened. And so I needed actors that could speak this language without sounding pretentious or without sounding too arch. And so Martin and Jenna both, it all sounds quite natural coming from them. And I would say the same with Bashir and Dagmara and Gideon and Christine. It all sounds natural so that you feel lifted into what this is, which is it's a Gothic fairy tale.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, they were very special. And I think both Martin and Jenna brought an incredible amount of humanity to characters that you want to lean into one thing or another, right? But they give you, there's like a pulse in there, you know?
Exactly. And I like the fact that you bring out these fantasy like sequences as they're reading the stories. And I like that. Like you're getting it from both sides of the spectrum. And the fact that you could tell that Martin's character, you know, Miller, is totally uncomfortable. Like he starts to engage in it, but then once that last part of the Henry Miller line hits, he just like loses it. And then not to spoil things, but the way Jenna's comes out, that floored me in a way because I felt like it had a new wave like ending to things, like the way a new wave motif, if you will. Like you don't know what the end game is, and I kind of like that at times. I like seeing out like it makes the viewer think, oh, how's this gonna go? You know, basically, and I think that's a great thing you did on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think having a character that would typically be identified as a perfect victim, keeping you on your toes about what they're doing and what they're going to do, and also having agency, like taking, and, you know, I'm not going to say whether or not what she does is right or wrong, but she makes moves, you know, she's a master chess player.
Exactly. So, how long did production take? And this being your first film, did you face any challenges at all during production?
No, during production, no, I did not face any challenges, to be honest. I mean, of course, like making a movie is, there are challenges to making a movie, but this whole thing was an anomaly of near perfection. It was very smooth. We shot for 19 days. It felt like summer camp. Everybody was so thoughtfully chosen for the project, crew, cast, certainly. Like we created a family. So it was just like it really did feel like summer camp. Like everybody came down, all the actors knew their lines, all the heads of department, like everybody just really understood the assignment. So when we got in here, we got to play. It was a fucking blast. I wish I had a challenge to give you, but I don't. It was really fun.
No, that makes it perfect because everyone I talk to, even like their first films, they always say like something has bothered, like there's something that they wish they could have done better. But from it looks like I think you're probably like the most smoothest filmmaker I've met in terms of filming like making a debut film and it practically going flawless. I mean, I think it's the first time I've ever heard that. So I gotta say kudos to you on that one.
Thank you. It was just made with a lot of love. Everybody was very safe. Everybody got on really well. So it just felt like kind of doing like summer theater is what it felt like. And so everybody was just hand in hand, knew what we were doing, and we just had a wonderful time. It was a project made with a lot of love across, from the executives to the cast, to the crew, to the producers, everybody. It was just, yeah, it was a really lovely experience.
That's awesome. So, are you playing now your second film now as we're talking about this?
I have things in the works that of course am not allowed to speak about, but I will say, as far as my original work goes, the next script that I have that I wrote years ago is the book that Beatrice is writing. All of my scripts fold inside of themselves. They're all in the same universe. There's a moment in the movie where she says the title of it. If you listen really, really, really hard, you can hear it.
Oh, I think we might have some sort of cinematic universe going on with this one then.
That's exactly right.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, everyone check out Miller's Girl. It's coming out this Friday. This was an excellent directorial debut for Jade here. Jenna and Martin, Brayton, and everyone brought their A game. And once again, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about it.
Albert, thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too. All right. Bye-bye.